JICA created and published the JICA Standard Safety Specification, JSSS, in 2021 with the aim of preventing and reducing occupational accidents and public accidents, which had been occurring frequently in construction works of ODA loan projects. For details about JSSS, refer to the section on JSSS, English version, included in this DVD. JICA prepared this presentation material for borrowers, executing agencies, consultants, and contractors of ODA loan projects with one goal in mind, that is, raise awareness of work safety by deepening understanding of the basic safety compliance requirements in JSSS, while using accident cases as learning material. JICA strengthens its safety measures for ODA projects in the wake of a tragic accident in September 2007 at the Can Tho Bridge construction project in Vietnam, in which 55 people lost their lives. In 2015, the safety policy for construction works in Japanese ODA projects was established. Despite JICA's efforts to strengthen safety measures, the number of occupational accidents and public accidents occurring in ODA projects remains high. Construction accidents in ODA loan projects account for about 80% of all accidents in ODA projects. JICA prepared and first issued JSSS in 2021 in order to further promote work safety measures for ODA loan projects. JSSS consists of 9 chapters. Chapter 1 defines general safety requirements. Chapter 2, general safety measures. And chapters 3 to 9 define safety requirements for each type of work. JICA strongly wishes for the adoption of JSSS to contribute to zero occupational and public accidents in ODA projects. We would now like to present an overview of JSSS. Chapter 1, General Requirements, consists of 38 sections and annexes, which define general safety requirements, terminology, and forms. This chapter covers safety responsibilities of the employer, the engineer, and the contractor, the priorities of JSSS in the contract documents, the contractor's risk assessments, preparation and submission of the method statements and safety plans, the engineer's review and comments, the health and safety officers, HSOs, responsibilities and authority, induction and training of the contractor's personnel, and health management, as well as the design, construction, and monitoring of temporary works. We would now like to go over the contents of Chapter 1. The factors behind accidents include such issues as the contractor's failure to comply with laws and the contract safety requirements, insufficient safety management and measures, and the use of obsolete or poorly maintained equipment. Section 1.1 provides for the resolution of these issues by including in the contract a bidder's safety declaration, which requires the contractor's compliance with health and safety requirements. Section 1.3 establishes the contractual priorities of health and safety specifications. The order of priority of health and safety requirements is Particular Safety Specifications, JSSS, and other general and technical specifications. Section 1.5 covers the use of a safety management system in accordance with ISO 45001, Occupational Health and Safety, or something similar to ISO standards, in order to improve the contractor's safety management level. JICA does not require external ISO certification. Section 1.8 states that the contractor must conduct risk assessments of construction work, identify hazards or toxicity, evaluate risks, determine measures to reduce and eliminate risks, and include specific measures in method statements and safety plans. It also stipulates that the contractor's personnel shall be informed of hazards and risks. Section 1.7 covers the preparation and submission of the contractor's bid stage safety plan, baseline safety plan for commencing the work, and particular safety plans for the construction stage. Section 1.9 states that the contractor submits to the engineer method statements detailing the construction methods and arrangements for all parts of the construction, including design documents, calculations, personnel and equipment, and inspection and monitoring plans. It also covers the engineer's review of safety plans and method statements, the notification of failure to comply with the project, the resubmission of the contractor's plan, and the commencement of work. Section 1.11 contains provisions of the engineer's safety compliance instructions for the contractor. Under JSSS, the engineer directs the contractor to implement corrective and preventive measures when the engineer determines that the contractor fails to comply with the safety plans and safety requirements. If the engineer determines that there is a danger in a part of the construction work that may lead to an accident, the engineer will order the suspension of work until it is verified that the danger is no longer present. When an accident occurs, the engineer will order the suspension of work by the contractor until the implementation of preventive measures against reoccurrence is verified. GC 6.7, Health and Safety, stipulates that the contractor shall appoint an accident prevention staff member responsible for maintaining safety and preventing accidents at the contractor's site, and this individual shall have the authority to direct accident prevention measures. In JSSS, this person is called the Health and Safety Officer, HSO. JSSS stipulates that the contractor's personnel must respect the HSO's specific authority and responsibilities, which are particularly important for site safety management, and the HSO's authority to give safety instructions. The responsibilities of the HSO include preparation of safety plans, dissemination of safety management activities, on-site inspections, instructions to temporarily suspend work when accidents occur, planning and implementation of recurrence prevention measures, and implementation of safety education training. Section 1.14 deals with procedures for resuming work that has been suspended after an accident. It stipulates that the contractor submits a proposal describing the accident investigation, cause, and recurrence prevention measures to the engineer for review. If there is no notification of failure to comply with the proposal from the engineer, the contractor will resume the work after notifying the engineer of the date of resumption in advance, verify the effectiveness of the recurrence prevention measures, notify the engineer of the results of such measures, and conduct risk assessment again. The safety plans and method statements should also be changed as necessary. Section 1.15 stipulates general and routine safety management activities to be performed by the contractor. As general safety management activities for contractors, it contains provisions of the holding of internal meetings, guidance on safety requirements, and implementation of monitoring. In addition, as the contractor's daily safety management, it requires toolbox meetings, dissemination of work details and safety plans to the contractor's personnel, guidance and management of 5S activities, and implementation of on-site safety inspections. Section 1.18 requires that the contractor, in compliance with GC 6.9, assigns personnel with appropriate qualifications, skills, and experience, does not permit any worker to work alone, and always places an operation leader in each work group. Sections 1.19 to 21 cover target groups for training, trainees, training subjects, and education and training records regarding safety induction training, skill training, and additional training. Sections 1.22 and 1.23 set forth safety measures for dangerous work. These sections stipulate that the contractor must provide special training to personnel engaged in dangerous work, issue work permits, ensure full-time assignment of operation leaders, and prepare safety procedures. They also require that the contractor establishes and implements a permit-to-work system, and the HSO evaluates dangerous work, conducts safety inspections, and manages the permit-to-work system. They stipulate the HSO's investigation and evaluation of dangerous work, prediction of dangers that may be encountered, and confirmation of results of pre-work inspections. Sections 1.24 and 1.25 specify the requirements for accident response plans and personnel and facilities in preparation for accidents. These sections provide for the formulation of an accident response plan that describes the contractor's on-site medical and first aid treatment personnel, equipment, service plans, and conducting of emergency rescue and first aid treatment training. They also stipulate the contents to be included in the particular safety specifications. Additionally, they cover measures to be taken by the HSO immediately after the occurrence of an accident. Section 1.35 specifies the requirements for the safe use of the contractor's equipment, temporary works, safety equipment, and PPE at work. It stipulates that before use of these, the contractor must permit the use of only equipment that is suitable for the purpose of use after inspection by the HSO, and perform periodic inspections during use to check the suitability of the equipment. It also covers inspections by the engineer, as well as stop work and stop use orders in the event of nonconformity. Section 1.37 defines the management standards for the design, construction, use, and removal of temporary works. As a management standard, it stipulates the application of Sections 1 and 2 of BS 5975, or other management standards agreed upon by the engineer. It also defines the submission of method statements for all parts of the temporary works, including the contractor's false work design and calculations, when requested by the engineer. This is an accident related to the placement of spotters. The location was a railway installation job site. An excavator was waiting for the refueling truck. The spotter was on standby in the brake area.
If I don't refuel soon, I won't be able to keep working. Oh, here it comes. Okay, I can't wait to fuel up and get back to work quickly.
The excavator started moving toward the refueling truck. Then, "Oh no! The excavator left without me!" Even though he was told not to move without a spotter, I have to hurry over there to guide him. The spotter rushed to the front of the excavator to guide it. Then, ah! The spotter fell. The driver didn't notice that the spotter had fallen.
All right, I just have to go around this pile of dirt to reach the refueling truck.
Oh no! The spotter was run over by the excavator and died. The contractor must place spotters to prevent the entry of unauthorized persons at all times during the work, effectively inform its personnel and the general public, including road users and pedestrians, and protect them from accidents. In this case as well, the excavator requires assistance for proper positioning, and the operator also needs to follow the signals. Before assisting in maneuvering the excavator, the spotter and driver need to communicate with each other via walkie-talkie, by using hand signals, or by making eye contact to signal each other and proceed. If the driver loses sight of the spotter, they need to stop operating immediately. By doing so, the driver and the spotter can proceed with the work while mutually ensuring their safety. This is an accident related to working above and below each other. Work was taking place at sea on the construction of pile caps for bridge piers. The concrete pile cap had hardened, so the steel formwork was being removed.
A crane is coming in the afternoon to take the formwork away. I'm going to skip lunch to get it ready.
Worker B was welding a hook to the removed formwork so that the crane could carry it out. Then, "The crane will be here soon to remove the formwork, so I'll start taking it off so it can be carried away quickly." Worker A cannot see Worker B working. Then,
Oh no!
Worker B suffered serious injuries, including a compound fracture of his shoulder. Working above and below each other must not be allowed. In this case, the workers involved were not aware of each other, and the work took place without taking necessary precautions, thereby leading to an accident. The contractor must carefully coordinate the location, details, and timing of the work being performed. When working above and below each other is unavoidable, additional PPE and work equipment, such as slings and safety nets, must be provided. Furthermore, such accidents can be avoided by placing spotters in case workers have to work above and below each other. This is an accident related to boundary demarcation for a prohibited entry area. The site was a general road where excavation work was taking place. A barricade was installed at the opening. It was nighttime.
With this overtime work, it's been a long day. I've got to get home soon. Oh no!
A motorcycle crashed into the barricade, and the driver later died. JSSS prohibits unauthorized access to areas where dangerous work is taking place. Therefore, areas where work is being carried out must be clearly demarcated, such as with proper fencing or protective barriers. In this case, the barricade should have been changed to a more visible one, and it should have been clearly distinguished with signage and lighting. By doing so, people both on-site and off-site can be protected. Chapter 2 sets out general safety measures common to construction works. This chapter covers the safety measures to be taken by the contractor in the following 9 sections. We would now like to review the contents of Chapter 2. The contractor is obligated to provide a safe and healthy work environment for its personnel. Section 2.1 contains specific requirements for the work environment, monitoring and risk control around the site to be implemented by the contractor. 2.1.1 stipulates that hazardous substances must be monitored on site, and if they exceed the exposure limit, the work must be stopped or the work environment must be improved. Sections 2.3 and 2.4 cover prohibition of entry measures and placement of spotters to ensure the safety of the contractor's personnel and the public. They stipulate the installation of barriers and signage in dangerous areas of the site, the prohibition of entry by unauthorized persons, and the placement of spotters at all times. They also require that spotters be placed to prevent falls and collisions with the contractor's equipment by the contractor's personnel and the public, and to control pedestrians and equipment on public road sites. Many accidents of falling from height occur at construction sites. Section 2.5 sets out various requirements for fall prevention from elevated work areas 2 meters or more above the floor below. They include installation of facilities for ascending and descending, handrails, mid-rails, toe boards, and working platforms, as well as provision of fall prevention from openings, fall arrest, and safety nets. In addition, this section covers instructions and education regarding the risk of falling to the contractor's personnel before starting work, and instructions to prohibit unauthorized removal of fall prevention equipment. Section 2.6 contains measures to be taken by the contractor to prevent injuries to people on site, in the vicinity, and in the surrounding area due to falling objects related to the works. This section sets out safe transporting methods for materials, general prohibitions on working above or below other persons, installation of temporary projecting shelves and protective barriers, prohibition of entry to certain areas, establishment of detours, and installation of signage such as danger of falling objects. 2.9.1 PPE stipulates that the contractor will provide all PPE necessary for the work to its personnel free of charge, ensure that they use it properly, maintain it in good condition, and replace it in case of wear, loss, or damage. It also defines the international standards for PPE to be used. 2.9.2 First Aid Treatment defines the contractor's placement of equipment and supplies for first aid treatment, periodic inspection and replenishment, first aid treatment training, and specifications for first aid kits and AEDs. This is an accident which occurred during power line relocation work. Power lines from an existing utility pole were being relocated to a temporary utility pole.
It's taking longer than I thought. I hope we can finish on schedule.
Meanwhile, at the substation, I still haven't received notification that the work has been completed. He should already be finished and on his lunch break. Maybe he forgot to contact me?
The scheduled work completion time has passed. I'm supposed to be off the utility pole. I've got to tell the substation.
Then...
Oh no!
The worker suffered electrical shock and fell from a height of about 10 meters. Confirmation of safety and detailed method statements are required for underground installations and overhead services. In this case, the worker was supposed to finish their work and return to the ground, where they would contact the coordinator by mobile phone, who would then relay to the substation that the work was completed and it was safe to turn on the power. However, there was no notice even when the work was scheduled to end, and since the coordinator had been away from their desk, the substation worker decided on their own to turn on the power, causing the accident. Wearing a safety belt and maintaining good communication between the site and the HSO will help prevent work accidents. Chapter 3 defines safety measures for works related to underground utilities, or those utilities embedded in buildings, and overhead services exposed on-site or in the air. The section also contains treatment in case of electrical shock, which is a common type of accident at all construction works. We would now like to review the contents of Chapter 3. Section 3.1 sets out measures to safely carry out work on underground utilities, such as gas pipes, water pipes, power lines, and communication lines. Measures to be taken by the employer include pre-agreement with the owner of underground utilities and provision of proper support to the contractor. The contractor's safety measures include consultation with the owner, preliminary emergency preparations, other preliminary preparations such as exploratory hand excavation, fire prevention and electrical shock prevention, placement of spotters, and safety instructions to personnel. Section 3.2 contains safety measures for overhead services such as power lines, communication lines, and conduits. As in Section 3.1, measures to be taken by the employer include pre-agreement with the owner of overhead services and provision of proper support to the contractor. The contractor's safety measures include consultation with the owner, preliminary emergency preparations, protection of overhead lines, ensuring separation distance, electrical shock prevention, placement of spotters, and instructions to personnel. This section stipulates the prohibition of contact with equipment that has caused an electrical shock, rescue of victims, and prevention of secondary electrical shocks. This is an accident related to contractors' tools, which surprisingly are often overlooked. A worker was about to cut wood on a table saw.
I was asked to drop everything and cut this. There's no blade cover. I must have forgotten to attach it during the repair the other day. Well, it doesn't matter. I can cut without it.
The worker started cutting with their bare hands, without a blade cover. The blade was also sticking out a lot, and the wood was not aligned with the guide wall. Then...
Oh no!
The wood kicked back, hitting the worker, who suffered serious injuries, including a broken rib. Chapter 4 covers not only large construction machinery, such as bulldozers and cranes, but also small machinery, such as vibratory compactors, and equipment, including such tools as drills and saws. Even small tools and equipment can be dangerous. When using this equipment, safety inspections and safety education training must be provided to personnel, and the equipment must be used properly, according to the safety plans. In this case, education for workers is required to teach them why kickback occurs, how the blade cover prevents it, the impact they could receive in the event that kickback occurs, and the importance of using appropriate jigs and tools. Use or repair of standard attachments should be performed by persons authorized by the HSO. Workers also need to take precautions against electrical shock. By the way, when using a circular saw, in addition to the piece being cut, the circular saw itself could also kick back. In addition to activating all safety devices, such as emergency alarms, it is also necessary not to operate beyond the limit, such as not overly extending the blade. This applies not only to small equipment and tools such as table saws, but also to mobile machinery such as bulldozers and static machinery such as quarry equipment. Chapter 4 contains the safety requirements for the contractor's equipment, including mobile, static, and small equipment, as well as tools and electric power equipment used in construction. We would now like to review the contents of Chapter 4. Section 4.1 covers the types of the contractor's equipment, compliance standards, instructions of equipment manufacturers, preparation of method statements and safety plans and their dissemination to the contractor's personnel, work safety training and traffic safety education, placement of operators and drivers with proper qualifications, skills, and experience, placement of spotters, methods for signaling, and selection of equipment. Section 4.2 defines inspections at the time of delivery of the contractor's equipment, daily inspections during operation and use, periodic inspections, and responses to defects and abnormalities. It requires the preparation of an inspection list, confirmation of inspection and maintenance records, and inspection of equipment when it is delivered to the site, implementation of the HSO's inspections when it is delivered to the site, and rejection of equipment by the engineer in case the equipment does not meet JSSS requirements. It also stipulates the shutdown, repair, and re-inspection of equipment in the event of a defect or abnormality during operation or use. Section 4.3 contains various safety requirements for the operation and use of the contractor's equipment. These include safety measures during cleaning, inspection, maintenance, and operation of the equipment, and safety requirements for temporary roads, mobile equipment, static equipment, small equipment, tools, electrical equipment, elevators, and material conveyors. In order to prevent electrical shock, which has been occurring frequently on site, Section 4.3.12 requires daily inspection of electrical equipment, use of waterproof switches, installation of ground fault circuit interrupters, GFCIs, and prohibition of use underwater. This is an accident related to simultaneous operation of cranes. In order to remove the temporary steel deck that was installed on a tidal flat, the piles supporting the deck were being removed with a crane using a vibro hammer. Workers should not ride anywhere other than the driver's seat. Nonetheless, there was an operator and apprentice on board.
You pull out the pile like this, move it to the side, and lower it down. Rinse and repeat. You got it? Next time you can do it yourself, right?
I'll do my best.
However, we're behind schedule due to the last typhoon, so we have to work quickly. All right then.
The operator then tries to lift the pile and move it sideways at the same time.
If I do these tasks all at once, we can work faster.
Wait a minute, is this okay? Let's stop.
It's all right. I got it.
Stop! It's dangerous!
The operator continued working. Then, the crane fell sideways and the cabin was buried in mud. The operator and apprentice were unable to escape and drowned. Chapter 5 covers hoisting and rigging works. In this case, the accident was caused by prohibited simultaneous operation, where the boom was rotated while hoisting something. Simultaneous operation of cranes by a single operator is prohibited as an unsafe practice because it is distracting to the operator. There have been many reports of accidents caused by simultaneous operation, including fatal ones. In addition to equipment safety inspections, safety training based on the work and equipment is required. During hoisting work, it is important to proceed with each task one by one, while confirming safety prior to each task. Stop for 3 seconds at a distance of 30 centimeters from the hoisting surface, check for any abnormalities, and then hoist the load at a distance of 3 meters. This is called the 3-3 exercise. The same holds true when rotating equipment or moving booms. The rigger will check the safety of the surroundings and give a signal before proceeding with the work. Also, do not perform work that exceeds the limits of the equipment. All crane safety devices, such as overload preventive devices, must be activated. Hoisting loads that exceed the rated capacity must not be allowed, and if the safety device is activated, work must be stopped immediately. Chapter 5 sets out requirements for safe hoisting and rigging work by the contractor's personnel, prevention of damage to the public due to this work, and accident prevention measures. We would now like to go over the contents of Chapter 5. Section 5.1 provides general safety requirements for hoisting equipment. Section 5.2 defines safety requirements for hoisting and rigging equipment, as well as hoisting operations. This section covers display of the rated capacity of hoisting equipment, implementation of daily, pre-work, and periodic inspections and maintenance, placement of qualified and experienced operators and riggers, instruction of work risks and safety measures, instruction and notification of emergency procedures to personnel, signals for riggers, measures for prohibition of entry, and prohibited matters during work. Section 5.3 stipulates the employment of experts for planning the selection, assembly, use, and dismantling of cranes, and the safety requirements for mobile cranes. It defines the installation of steel plates to prevent mobile cranes from overturning, the full extension of outriggers, and the use of overload prevention devices. Section 5.4 covers the display of rigging equipment information, the prohibition of on-site fabrication and repair of rigging equipment, and the detachment and disposal of improper rigging equipment. This is an accident related to temporary works. Workers were adjusting the scaffolding on the bracket of a bridge pier.
We have to finish the scaffolding soon or nobody can start working. Let's hurry. Because it's dangerous, anchor the hook of your safety belt.
It's okay. Shouldn't take too long. Then. Oh no! JSSS stipulates safety standard specifications for cofferdams, earthwork support, scaffolding, and temporary works for electricity and gas. In this case, the bracket scaffold support was loose, which caused the scaffold to collapse, resulting in the accident. Supported scaffolds, mobile scaffolds, suspended scaffolds, and mobile elevating work platforms must have a supporting capacity of at least 4 times their own weight and maximum load. In addition to the need for design and temporary construction in accordance with safety plans, it is necessary to inspect before use, when implementing changes or expansions, and after adverse weather conditions. In addition, ladders and stepladders must not be used on scaffolding, and fall prevention measures such as using harness safety belts must be taken when there's a risk of falling, such as when assembling or dismantling scaffolding. Chapter 6 covers safety measures for temporary works to ensure that main construction is carried out safely and systematically. This chapter specifies requirements for planning, designing, construction, use, and removal of temporary works such as earthwork support, cofferdams, and walkways. We would now like to review the contents of Chapter 6. Section 6.1 covers JSSS clauses to be complied with regarding the design and provision, method statements, construction, use, removal, and monitoring of temporary works. Sections 6.2 and 6.3 specify the safety requirements for earthwork support to prevent collapse of excavated surfaces, and cofferdams for underwater works. Section 2.2 covers the planning, design, method statements, safety plans, and monitoring plans for earthwork support, safety measures for earthwork support, and monitoring of surrounding ground. Section 6.3 covers the planning and design of cofferdams, method statements, safety plans, monitoring plans, safety measures for cofferdam work, and response in the event of a sudden rise in water level. Sections 6.4 and 6.5 specify safety requirements for pedestrian walkways and scaffolds for working. Section 6.4 stipulates safety measures to prevent falls on and from walkways and HSO inspections. In addition, ladders and stepladders can only be used as walkways when the HSO determines that they are safe. Section 6.5 contains requirements for compliance standards, design, erection work, HSO inspections, and construction of working platforms and walkways for scaffolding. Sections 6.7 and 6.8 specify safety requirements for temporary electrical installations and for electric and gas welding and cutting. Section 6.7 covers safety measures for provision, use, relocation, repair, and removal of temporary electrical installations, along with the use of portable electrical equipment and GFCIs, and implementation of inspections and maintenance. Section 6.8 covers the prohibition of work by anyone other than qualified personnel, pre-work confirmation of voltage reduction devices and flashback arresters, periodic inspection of equipment, and fire prevention measures. This is an accident which occurred during excavation work. Excavation site. The worker was working approximately 4 meters underground.
All right, we're making good progress. We're doing good excavation precisely and neatly. Most probably we can finish the work on schedule.
Then.
Oh no!
The worker suffered serious injuries, including a broken shoulder. JSSS contains safety measures related to excavation, trench excavation, manual and mechanical excavation, blasting, embankment and backfill work, dumping, and earthwork support. Many accidents have been reported involving ground collapse during excavation works. Ample consideration must be given to sloping sides and benching to the sides of excavation. This includes prohibition of any excavation under near vertical cutting faces. In addition, earthwork supports must be installed to ensure stable excavation. This also requires that work on the site must be ceased until the earthwork support is completed. Excavation works require careful planning and safety measures to avoid weakening the ground or damaging property, such as other buildings. Chapter 7 covers safety requirements and accident prevention measures for excavation work such as open cut, trench excavation, manual and mechanical excavation, blasting, embankment and backfill work, disposal, and earthwork support. We would now like to review the contents of Chapter 7. Sections 7.1 to 7.5 specify safety requirements for excavation works in open cut operations. These sections cover the preparation and implementation of method statements, safety plans, and monitoring plans for excavation works, sloping and benching for excavation, installation of earthwork support, HSO inspection of the site and instructions to stop risky work, installation of facilities and protective barriers for prohibition of entry, and placement of spotters. Section 7.6 specifies safety requirements for open cut excavation by blasting. It covers preparation and implementation of construction method statements, safety plans and monitoring plans, compliance with specific BS regulations, placement of personnel, blasting safety plans, hazard prevention, handling of explosives, trial blasting, special measures, monitoring, safety confirmation after blasting, and the treatment of misfired explosives. This is an accident related to foundation piling works. Foundation piling work site. A follower was used in order to penetrate the driven pile deeper into the ground to the specified depth.
I'm having a tough time driving the piles. Maybe the ground is hard. I won't be able to complete the piling work at this rate, so... Hey, it's hard to get the piles in, so let's increase the hammer drop height.
I got it.
Okay, you're good to go. Keep piling.
Then,
Oh no!
the follower hit the worker, mortally wounding him. When driving piles, proper methods must be used according to the characteristics of the equipment and pile material. In this case, when the follower was struck, it swayed laterally and received an eccentric impact. In addition, due to the impact exceeding the allowable force of the pile material was damaged and the cap fell. Checks must be performed from time to time to determine whether there is any misalignment between the center of the pile and the hammer. In addition, the pile material must not be hit with more force or hit more times than the tolerable limit. Chapter 8 stipulates safety requirements and accident prevention measures for foundation piling works involving driven piling, cast-in-place piling, and hand-dug piling. We would now like to go over the contents of Chapter 8. Chapter 8 covers safety measures before commencement and safety measures and monitoring for on-site transport, driven piling, cast-in-place piling, and hand-dug piling. This chapter contains general requirements such as prohibition of entry measures, safety measures before commencement such as preparation of method statements and safety plans, safety measures for driven piling such as fall prevention measures, safety measures for cast-in-place piling and concrete placement, and safety measures and monitoring for hand-dug piling. This is an accident related to concrete casting. Construction site for a facility being made of reinforced concrete. The liquid concrete was poured into the formwork by a pump truck.
It's going well. We should be able to finish this floor by the end of the day.
Then suddenly,
It stopped. It must be clogged because it was flowing slowly. Hey, it's clogged. Turn up the pressure. That's not working. It's completely clogged. Well, let's try to scrape it out somehow. Oh no!
concrete hit the worker directly. The worker was taken to the hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Various safety measures must be taken when pouring concrete with a pump. Workers must not be under or in front of the outlet of concrete pump delivery pipes and end hoses, and pumping must be stopped immediately in case the hose becomes blocked. After moving the workers to a safe location, the pressure inside must be released before the hose can be used again. At this time, workers should not move in front of or below the outlet of the concrete pump delivery pipes and end hoses to prevent being struck by pipes or flailing hoses. Chapter 9 stipulates safety requirements and accident prevention measures for concrete works, including reinforcement, formwork, and false work. We would now like to explain the contents of Chapter 9. Chapter 9 covers the preparation of method statements and safety plans for concrete works and their dissemination and instruction to workers, along with safety measures for processing, transport, temporary placement, and assembly work of reinforcement, fabrication, transport, temporary placement and assembly of formwork and false work, transport of ready-mixed concrete, concrete pump and bucket placement work, and concrete placement and compacting work. Thank you for your attention. We hope that the use of JSSS for ODA loan projects will enhance construction safety measures and achieve zero occupational accidents and zero public accidents.